In 2026, two American households can earn the exact same income and still end up living completely different financial lives. The first family lives in a newly built 3,400 square foot suburban house outside Dallas. There's a black $92,000 Ford F-150 Platinum sitting in the driveway beside a leased BMW X5. The garage is packed with unopened Costco storage bins, camping gear used twice, and a $4,000 Peloton bike collecting dust under hanging extension cords. Every kitchen appliance is stainless steel, every TV is oversized, every convenience is financed. From the street, the household looks successful. Inside, it feels fragile. The checking account balance gets monitored every Thursday night before payday. One HVAC repair triggers stress. One layoff would immediately force credit card debt. Their income is high, but every dollar already has an assigned destination before it arrives. Now compare that to another household 15 minutes away. A 1,600 square foot house, paid off 2014 Lexus RX with 180,000 miles. A repaired wooden patio table. Automatic transfers flowing quietly into index funds every Friday morning. Fewer subscriptions, fewer upgrades, fewer financial emergencies. Nothing about their life looks impressive online. But when inflation rises, markets fall, or layoffs hit, they barely adjust at all. That is the uncomfortable truth most Americans never get taught. Financial strength is not always visible. Sometimes the strongest household on the block is the one that looks the most ordinary. Modern American life is engineered to make financial weakness feel normal. The system rewards speed, one-click checkout, tap-to-pay, buy now pay later financing attached to furniture, phones, even groceries. Entire industries profit from removing the psychological pause between desire and purchase. The less time you think, the more money leaves your account. And for a while, it feels harmless. A $14 DoorDash lunch during work. A $9 cold brew every morning. A streaming bundle quietly charging $17.99, $12.99, $8.99, and $14.99 across 6 different apps. A 72-month truck loan justified because the payment fits the budget. None of these decisions feel catastrophic individually. That is precisely why they become dangerous collectively. Most financial instability in America is not created by one dramatic mistake. It is created by hundreds of small recurring obligations that slowly eliminate margin. The household earning $220,000 per year can still feel broke because fixed costs expand to absorb every raise before the raise is even emotionally felt. Meanwhile, stress compounds silently in the background. High fixed expenses increase cortisol levels because the brain recognizes dependence. A person with massive monthly obligations cannot easily quit a toxic job, survive a recession, or tolerate uncertainty. Their lifestyle becomes a machine that must constantly be fed. This is why so many Americans feel trapped despite historically high incomes. They optimized their lives for visible comfort, but they accidentally removed their own financial breathing room. Most people think wealth is about increasing income. It is not. Income matters, but income alone explains almost nothing about long-term financial stability. America is filled with households earning 6 figures that still panic when an unexpected $1,200 expense appears. At the same time, there are households earning far less that sleep peacefully because their financial structure is fundamentally stronger. The difference is fragility. A financially fragile life requires everything to go right. The paycheck must arrive on time. The bonus must continue. The economy must stay stable. The car cannot break down. The credit card balance cannot grow too quickly. One disruption creates immediate pressure because the entire system operates at maximum capacity. A financially durable life works differently. Lower fixed costs, cash reserves, manageable housing, controlled spending, automated investing, fewer recurring obligations. The household is not forced to panic every time uncertainty appears because uncertainty was already expected inside the design of the system. That changes behavior in ways most people underestimate. A person with financial margin negotiates differently, sleeps differently, thinks differently, They can leave bad jobs faster, move cities faster, take opportunities faster. They do not need every decision to produce immediate income because survival is no longer hanging by a thread. This is the real definition of wealth that rarely gets discussed online. Not visible luxury, not status signaling, not appearing rich on Instagram. Real wealth is the reduction of financial fragility, the ability to absorb shocks without your entire life collapsing underneath you. Lifestyle creep rarely arrives looking dangerous. It usually arrives disguised as convenience. A slightly larger house because the kids need space. A second refrigerator in the garage for bulk Costco runs. A $280 monthly boat storage fee for a fishing boat used 6 weekends a year. Food delivery because everyone is tired after work. A financed backyard renovation with an outdoor kitchen nobody uses during winter months. Individually, each expense feels reasonable. Collectively, they become structural weight. This is how households earning $180,000 per year end up feeling more financial stress than households earning half as much. The problem is not income. The problem is fixed cost geometry. Every recurring payment reduces flexibility. Every monthly obligation quietly narrows the number of bad outcomes a household can survive. The math becomes brutal surprisingly fast. A $1,450 truck payment. A $620 luxury SUV lease. $430 in subscriptions and app services. $1,100 monthly restaurant spending. $600 in minimum credit card payments. That is over $4,000 per month, disappearing before groceries, utilities, or retirement investing even begin. And most of it comes from purchases that stopped creating happiness months ago. The brain adapts quickly to upgraded lifestyles. What initially feels exciting rapidly becomes psychologically normal. The heated seats, oversized kitchen, premium gym membership, and upgraded electronics stop producing emotional satisfaction, but the bills remain permanently attached to the household. This creates a dangerous cycle. The lifestyle expands, stress expands with it, then spending gets used to temporarily relieve the stress caused by the spending itself. Financial durability is not built through motivation. It is built through constraints that shape behavior even when motivation disappears. The households that remain stable over decades are not the ones that try harder. They are the ones that remove decisions from the system entirely and replace them with rules that run automatically in the background. These rules are not about optimization. They are about preventing collapse. Rule 1: never make a non-essential purchase in under 24 hours. Anything that survives the delay is reviewed with clear eyes, not emotional urgency. Rule 2: lock spending at 80% of net income. The remaining 20% is never mentally available. It does not exist in the spending category. It is structurally removed before lifestyle inflation can absorb it. Rule 3: repair before replacing. A $120 repair on a broken appliance is preferred over a $1,400 replacement until repair is no longer viable. The default assumption is longevity, not replacement. Rule 4: cash for high-frequency spending categories. Restaurants, coffee, delivery, and entertainment operate under physical limits. When cash is gone, the category is closed. No exceptions, no digital extensions. Rule 5: audit subscriptions quarterly. Anything that no longer produces measurable value is removed immediately. Autopilot spending is treated as leakage, not convenience. Rule 6: automate investing before lifestyle spending begins. Index fund contributions are treated as fixed obligations, not leftover savings. Rule 7: increase savings rate by 1% annually, not abruptly. Change is designed to be invisible enough that the lifestyle does not resist it. Rule 8: extend time horizon before major decisions. Every large purchase is evaluated through a 10-30-year lens, not a monthly payment lens. These rules are simple by design. Complex systems break under stress. Simple constraints survive it. The real power of these systems only becomes visible when you attach them to physical, everyday objects inside an American household. Take transportation. A $92,000 Ford F-150 Platinum financed over 72 months looks manageable on a monthly payment sheet. The truck feels solid, modern, socially reinforcing. But the payment is only one layer. Insurance is higher. Fuel costs are higher. Maintenance on larger vehicles compounds faster. Over time, the total cost quietly expands far beyond the sticker price. Meanwhile, in the driveway sits a 2015 Toyota Tacoma with 140,000 miles that has already been paid off. The difference between the two vehicles, if invested monthly, becomes a long-term asset that the owner never sees physically, but feels later in freedom. Now look at the kitchen. A household runs Uber Eats and DoorDash 4 nights per week. Each order is $28 to $45. It feels like convenience, not spending. But zoom out, $900 to $1,200 per month disappears into food that takes 30 minutes to arrive and 12 minutes to eat. Compare that to a structured grocery system that costs half as much but requires planning and friction. The difference is not food, it is control. Then look at subscriptions. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Apple One, Spotify Premium, cloud storage, gym memberships used inconsistently, meditation apps downloaded during a motivated week and forgotten after. Each one is $8 to $25, individually harmless. Collectively, they form a $250 $400 monthly invisible tax on attention and inertia. Finally, consider repair behavior. A cracked dining chair replaced immediately for $180 instead of $35 repair. A washing machine swapped for $900 instead of a $120 service call. A winter jacket discarded because a zipper broke, replaced with a $260 impulse purchase. Across a decade, these micro-decisions accumulate into tens of thousands of dollars in lost capital, not because of income problems, because of default behavior. Most financial decisions are not made with logic in the moment. They are made under emotional load that the brain tries to resolve as quickly as possible. Modern spending systems are designed to exploit that. One-click checkout removes friction. Apple Pay removes awareness. Buy now, pay later removes consequence from the present moment. What remains is a neurological loop: anticipation, dopamine spike, and immediate relief. The purchase is not just acquisition of an object, it is temporary regulation of emotional state. This is why stress and spending are tightly correlated. A long workday increases cortisol. Cortisol reduces cognitive patience. Reduced patience increases impulsive decision-making. Impulsive decisions favor immediate relief over long-term optimization. A $40 food delivery order becomes less about hunger and more about emotional unloading. A $300 online shopping session becomes less about need and more about restoring a sense of control. But the relief is temporary. Once the transaction completes, the brain rapidly returns to baseline. In some cases, it overshoots into regret. That regret is subtle, but it accumulates. Not in dramatic moments, but in background noise, slight anxiety when checking balances, avoidance of financial apps, mental distancing from credit card statements. Over time, this creates a second-order effect: avoidance behavior. People stop looking closely at their finances because the emotional signal associated with doing so is uncomfortable. That avoidance leads to less awareness, which leads to more autopilot spending, which reinforces the original stress loop. This is the core trap. Spending is not just financial activity. It is emotional regulation performed through financial tools. Without structural constraints, the system will always drift toward short-term emotional relief at the expense of long-term stability. Structural change only works when it is introduced gradually enough that lifestyle resistance does not trigger reversal. The first phase is awareness, not optimization. For the first 7 days, every expense is tracked in real time without judgment. The goal is not to reduce spending, but to make invisible patterns visible. A $9 coffee, a $17 subscription, a $42 impulse purchase, each one is recorded with time and context. This creates a baseline map of financial behavior under real conditions, not assumptions. The second phase begins in week 2. One recurring expense is removed immediately. Not negotiated, not optimized, removed. A subscription, a delivery service, or a duplicated utility. The objective is to break the autopilot system in at least one place so the brain registers that spending is reversible, not automatic. By week 3, the 80% structure is introduced. Income is mentally and operationally divided before spending begins. 20% is removed from consideration entirely. It is transferred automatically into savings or investment accounts on payday before discretionary decisions occur. What remains is what the lifestyle must operate within. By month 2, investing becomes automatic. A fixed percentage is directed into index funds regardless of market conditions. The decision is removed from emotional timing and placed into system design. The household is no longer deciding to invest. It is simply executing a rule. By the end of the first quarter, cash friction is introduced in high-velocity categories. Dining, coffee, and convenience spending operate under physical limits. Once the envelope is empty, consumption stops without negotiation. After 6 months, the system begins to stabilize. Spending decisions require less cognitive effort. Financial anxiety begins to reduce not because income increased, but because uncertainty decreased. The objective is not perfection. The objective is a system that remains stable, even when attention is not. Most households don't collapse from one bad financial decision. They drift into collapse through a repeating loop that feels normal at every step. The destructive cycle starts with expansion. Income increases slightly, promotion, job change, side income. The lifestyle responds immediately: a larger apartment, a newer car, higher subscription tiers, more frequent convenience spending. None of it feels excessive because each upgrade is justified individually. But fixed costs do not reset, they stack. Over time, the household reaches a point where 85–95% of income is pre-allocated before the month even begins. At that stage, financial flexibility disappears. Every disruption becomes stressful: car repairs, medical bills, temporary income delays. Stress increases baseline cortisol. Elevated stress reduces patience. Reduced patience increases emotional spending. Emotional spending increases fixed costs again. The loop tightens. Now contrast the virtuous cycle. It begins with constraint, not expansion. Spending is capped at a structural level, often 80% of income. The remaining margin is invisible and protected. Subscriptions are intentionally minimized. Cash is used in high-friction categories. Purchases are delayed, not impulsive. Investments are automated before lifestyle inflation begins. At first, this feels restrictive. But within months, a different pattern emerges. Lower fixed costs create breathing room. Breathing room reduces stress response. Reduced stress improves decision quality. Better decisions reduce waste. Reduced waste increases available capital. Increased capital strengthens savings and investment velocity. The loop reinforces itself. The critical difference is directionality. One cycle compounds toward dependence on income continuity. The other compounds toward independence from income fragility. Eventually, both households may earn similar amounts, but only one household can survive income interruption without structural damage. That is the dividing line between financial fragility and financial durability. At the surface level, these systems look like budgeting tactics, but underneath, they are something else entirely. They are a redefinition of what wealth actually means. Most people define wealth as visible accumulation: bigger houses, newer cars, upgraded lifestyles, and the ability to convert income into immediate comfort. But that definition collapses under stress. It depends entirely on continuity: continuous employment, continuous growth, continuous stability in external conditions. The alternative definition is more durable. Wealth is not what you own in peak conditions. It is what remains functional under pressure. A household that can lose income for 90 days and still remain stable is structurally wealthy in a way that a higher income, high-expense household is not. A person who can delay gratification without distress, who can repair instead of replace, who can live on 80% of income without lifestyle collapse, that person has built optionality into their life. Optionality is the real currency. It is the ability to choose without urgency, to walk away from bad jobs, to absorb economic shocks, to delay decisions until clarity appears, to survive volatility without behavioral breakdown. This is why the quiet households often look unimpressive from the outside. There is no need for visible signaling when survival does not depend on external validation. Their wealth is stored in time, in margin, and in the absence of pressure, not in objects designed to communicate status. And this is the final inversion most people miss. The goal is not to maximize income so that spending can expand. The goal is to minimize financial fragility so that life choices expand. Because in the long run, the highest form of wealth is not consumption. It is the freedom to remain unchanged when everything around you changes.